On today's video, I want to share with you how I managed to stash more than 2,000 ounces of breast milk in just 6 weeks. Even though this is my third time as a breastfeeding mama, I have never experienced a supply like this. I'm not sure if it's an oversupply. I tried to Google to see like what qualifies an oversupply, but there was some mixed information out there. So y'all comment below and let me know, how do I know if I have an oversupply? But in addition to me sharing with you how I managed to stash so much milk, I also want to share things that I wish someone would have told me as a first time breastfeeding mama, as well as things that I wish people would have told me about. As you can see, we have breastfed baby number 3 making an appearance. And if you see me looking down, it's because I suffer from mommy brain and I have lots that I want to share with y'all. So first things first, let's talk about top tips. Now, if you Google breastfeeding tips, you're probably going to see pretty similar information to what I'm about to share. The information on the internet is consistent because it seems to be the truth. The first thing that you will see that I absolutely agree with is that you have to stay hydrated as a breastfeeding mother. If you have ever nursed a baby, then you know the moment your nipple goes into their mouth, it's like instant thirst. Like, I need water immediately. So the more you stay hydrated before and after a breastfeeding or a pumping session, the more your milk will flow. If you are able to actually tolerate coconut water, because I know a lot of people don't like the taste of coconut water, myself included, that's actually like one of the best forms of hydration. One trick is to sneak your coconut water into your smoothies if you are a smoothie or a juicer, or get body armor, which is like hydration drinks, electrolyte drinks, kind of like Gatorade, but supposedly a healthier version. And it's coconut water based. So it hydrates you better than just a regular glass of water. So that's the first thing. Number one, stay hydrated. Second thing, stay latched. Okay, that is one of the best ways to increase your supply. The more baby latches, the more your body believes that the baby's hungry, so you have to produce milk. So the more you latch, the more milk you will produce. Last but not least, stay on schedule. This is how I ruined my supply a couple years ago because I was lazy. There's no other way to explain it other than those 2 to 3 hour windows would creep by because you're supposed to nurse or pump don't embarrass me, every 2 to 3 hours. Those 2 to 3 hours would come by and I didn't feel like nursing or pumping. Usually it was the pumping. It wasn't the nursing. If my baby was there, obviously it doesn't matter what I feel like. I'm going to feed my baby. It was really the pumping. So I made the mistake of attempting to exclusively pump with my second baby. And that was the biggest mistake that I made because it's very hard to maintain a consistent pumping schedule because life be life and people got to work, especially if you have other kids, like things happen. And so not being consistent with those 2 to 3 hour windows will absolutely mess up your supply. If your baby is cluster feeding, even though that's super, or it can be annoying and frustrating, that's actually really good for your supply because the more that you empty your breast by either nursing your baby or pumping, the more your milk will flow. So as you empty, more milk will be replenished. So do not skip those sessions. Some babies will do stretches longer than 3 hours. That's between you and your baby and your body. But if you make it a habit to skip those sessions or to go longer than 3 hours consistently, that's a surefire way to mess up your supply. So top tips, just overall generic Googleable tips. Make sure that you are staying hydrated, preferably with coconut water. Stay latched as often as you can. Cluster feeding will help you increase your supply, and stay on schedule. Do not get lazy and skip those pumping sessions. Things that I wish people would have warned me about. Number one, there are actually foods that will ruin your milk supply. This is something, again, that you can Google. One of the things that I learned, thankfully not the hard way, is that peppermint actually can dry up your milk. Obviously, it makes sense, right? It makes sense why peppermint could dry up your milk, but it's not something that I just knew. It was something that I found out with my first breastfeeding experience. And so if you are a tea drinker, Google your favorite tea and see if it has an impact on your milk supply. But peppermint for sure impacts your milk supply. Certain medicines and vitamins that you take can actually also impact your milk supply. And usually it only impacts it negatively. There aren't that many like prescription medicines that you're going to take that's going to increase your milk supply. So if you are on any prescriptions, or if your doctor wants to prescribe you any new prescriptions, then that's something that you definitely want to be aware of, is how that supplement or medicine may impact your supply. The vitamins, the supplements that you take could potentially impact your supply. There was a saffron supplement that I planned on taking, but then I found out that it might negatively impact my baby, and my breastfeeding is my number one priority. So that was a supplement that I had to skip. So that's definitely something that you want to be aware of, and just do your due diligence and do your research to find out how whatever you are ingesting might potentially impact your supply. And what is a breastfeeding video without a breastfeeding baby making noises and without milk? This is another thing I wish someone would have warned me about. I don't know if y'all can see the milk stains on my shirt, but if there was a forensic specialist in my home and they shined one of those blue lights, like to see the body fluids, they would arrest me. They would think that I was committing crimes in here, the way that there's milk everywhere on everything. But things I wish people would have warned me about: number one, foods can absolutely ruin your supply. So if you are experiencing a dip in your supply, or if you are just struggling with your supply, it might be something that you are ingesting, either food, medicine, vitamins. Formula can also mess up your supply. So I'm gonna have to do a whole nother video on how I just, like, all the wrong things that I did. But I ended up having to supplement my breast milk first with donor milk and then with formula, and that will actually decrease your supply also, because if you are supplementing with formula, you are going to be pumping or nursing less, obviously, because you have the formula to supplement. The less you pump or latch the baby, the less milk you're going to produce. So usually people who, or not usually, let me not say usually, sometimes people who supplement their breast milk with formula will find that their supply decreases drastically, because they're not having to pump as often, because they're using the formula to supplement. So that is a way that you can actually mess up your supply. And I don't think enough people are actually talking about that. Believe it or not, stress will mess your supply right up. Now, what kind of sick cycle is it that you are stressed about your milk supply, and that stress messes your milk supply up even more? So it's like a toxic cycle. The stress makes my milk supply dip. The dip in my milk supply stresses me out, and it's like a never ending cycle. So I don't have the solution for this one, but breastfeeding can absolutely do damage on your mental health if you are not careful. If you don't have a therapist, if you don't have a best friend, if you don't have a support system, if you don't have a diary, okay, to be able to have an outlet and a safe space to get out your thoughts and your frustrations, you definitely need one, because you cannot help the fact that your body is only pumping out one little drop of milk. But to not be able to feed your child is absolutely unbearable. So that's a conversation that you need to be prepared to have with yourself, because most people don't understand it unless they've ever been in your position. So that's just something to be mindful of, to try to limit your stress. I know that is like a sick joke to say to a postpartum mom, to try to limit your stress, but it's true. Stress will mess up your milk supply. So those are some things that I wish people would have warned me about. Now I want to share with y'all some things that I tried while my milk supply was messed up and some things that I bought this time around in preparation because I knew that I did not want to experience the stresses of nursing again. So the first thing that I tried last time I messed up my supply that actually increased my supply and helped me get it back on track was brewer's yeast. Now, I don't know the science behind any of the things that I'm sharing with y'all. So definitely go do your due diligence, do your research, understand that everybody is different. What works for me might not work for you. And there are some supplements out there that are supposed to be for increasing your milk supply, but depending on your body chemistry, it can actually mess up your milk supply. Like fenugreek, for example, is the active ingredient in a lot of these milk supply supplements, but some women have an opposite reaction. So some women's bodies will actually decrease their milk supply when they start taking fenugreek. So trial and error. Unfortunately, you just don't know how your body is going to respond until you have given it a try. But brewer's yeast tablets really worked for me. Body armor drinks, of course. Fruit punch is my favorite flavor. Oatmeal. So oats are really great for your supply. So you'll see people suggesting oatmeal. You'll see people suggesting oat milk. I have these little oatmeal bars that I like. My husband says that I'm cheating because they're full of sugar. They are like a little tasty treat, but it's still oats nonetheless. But oats, period, are good for your supply. Hydration packs. So there's a brand called Legendary Milk. Google it, look them up on Amazon. They have probably 50 different lactation support supplements, vitamins and supplements. They also have a really good supplement for mood support that I have been taking this time that seems to be working because I have not had postpartum rage. At least I don't think that I have. But I linked all of my favorite nursing supplies and postpartum supplies on my LTK. So I will put that link down below. So if you want to check out any of the products that I am recommending, including the brewer's yeast, even my oatmeal squares are on my LTK because they're so good and I think they actually work. But they also have these hydration packs. So you know those little packets of powder that people add to their water. Legendary Milk brand has a hydration pack called She's Thirsty. And again, it's meant to just hydrate your body because the more hydrated you are, the more milk you can produce. So brewer's yeast, body armor, oatmeal squares, hydration packs, moringa. There's a moringa. Well, moringa is a supplement that you could take. It's like a multivitamin, but there's a specific moringa extract that's specifically for milk, supposedly. It might just be a marketing ploy, but that's linked on my LTK as well, the specific one that I use. And then this time around, I got my placenta encapsulated. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But supposedly that's supposed to help increase your milk supply as well. Some women, though, say that it messed up their supply. So I have been taking my placenta pills. Maybe that's the reason for this increase in supply because I've never had a supply like this before. And I've also never taken placenta pills before. I got my placenta encapsulated the first time, but I got scared and I never took them. So that could have something to do with it as well. So those are the things that I've tried. Those are the things that I've worked, that have worked for me. When it comes to the supplies that I am using on a daily, not even daily, like an hour by hour basis, because breastfeeding is literally a full-time job, especially if you are pumping. So multiple pumps. The manual pump, Medela has a manual pump. Lansano has a manual pump. I think Medela is probably the most popular one. But I use a manual pump every single time that baby latches. And I use an electric pump if I'm either away from the baby, if I'm out somewhere, or if I just want to make sure that I completely empty my breasts. I also use pump wipes. So if you have ever breastfed before, you know, cleaning the pump parts is probably one of the worst parts of the entire process. And so there are wipes that you can use in between washes. You're going to need storage bottles or storage bags. Again, I'm gonna have to show y'all some footage of my deep freezer that is completely full from the top to the bottom, full of milk. So I use bags in the deep freezer and I use bottles in the refrigerator. I also use a cooler cup at night. So throughout the night, while she is nursing on one breast, I'm manually pumping on the other breast, and then I pour that milk into my cooler cup. And then in the morning, I can put it into a storage bag and then freeze it in the deep freezer. And then also a cooler bag for on the go. So if you do have to pump while you are out, you have a cooler bag to be able to keep your milk cool so that you are not wasting a drop of that liquid gold. If you are having trouble with your pump and you feel like your pump is not working for you, I experienced this and I realized that I had the wrong size. So you can literally like go on Amazon and buy I don't know what it's called, but it's like a nipple sizer where you literally like stick your nipple in a hole and it will tell you the size of your nipple. And you need to make sure your flange, which is like the triangle funnel part of the pump, is the right size for your nipple. Because if it's not the right size, the pump is not going to work properly and you are going to be stressing yourself out because you're not getting any milk. Okay, so make sure you check the size of that before you freak out. And lastly, the number one, hands down, best hack, best breastfeeding tip that I can give you is to get a manual pump. Now, you will see people all over the internet talking about the Haka. I do like the Haka, but I love the manual pump in place of the Haka. So the Haka is basically a silicone collection cup that you put on the other breast that the baby is not nursing off of. Instead of using that Haka, which is really great, it does collect a lot of milk that otherwise would be wasted, would just be soaking into your nursing pads that you have in your bra. If you pump the manual pump, and again, all of this is linked, I will link it down below so you can see what I'm talking about if you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you use that manual pump on the other breast while baby is latched, you will get so much milk out because your body will literally think that you are producing milk for twins because you're pumping both breasts at the same time. So that is hands down the number one breastfeeding, hands down the number one breastfeeding hack. And that's my own hack. That's one that I've personally learned and that has been a game changer for me. Now it's December, which means that January is coming up, New Year's upon us, and everybody and their mama is going to be making their New Year's resolutions and finally sitting down and thinking about what type of goals they see for themselves. I want to encourage you today to make sure that as you start reviewing your year, recapping 2025, and designing your 2026, to make sure you are keeping some personal goals and milestones on your list. Don't just think about those vision board goals. Like, I want the wedding ring and the mansion and, the $1 million in the bank. What about those small goals? For the month of December, the things that are on my goal list are things like walking for 20 minutes a day. It's things like drinking warm lemon water every day, meditating every day, posting here on YouTube every day. Small, actionable goals that will ultimately, if I do them consistently on a daily basis, get me closer to becoming the woman that I am meant to be in this season. So I created this goal tracker. I used Canva, okay, free 99 to create this goal tracker, but I made it available for you all as well. So if breastfeeding is one of your goals, if walking, exercising, moving your body, cooking dinner for your family, having a better attitude, drinking more water, whatever is on your list for things that you want to do to become this new version, the latest version of yourself that this season of life is requiring you to become, then tap the link down below and grab a free copy of my December goal tracker. Okay, it's literally just a calendar that has blanks for you to write in your goals each day. You can just print it off. There's also a link that I'll send you to the Canva template. So if you want to go in there and type in your goals and then print it off so you could just check them off every day, you have the option to do either one or both. So I will make sure I link that down below. What you want to say, girl? I told her she had to earn her milk, so I guess she's trying to. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. Last thing that she reminded me that I need to let y'all know is that my nonprofit, For the Culture Foundation, is sending one lucky mama on a staycation next month. So if you would like to enter to win a one-night hotel stay and dinner on us because you deserve a night of rest and relaxation, then make sure you tap the link down below to enter to win. No strings attached. One night hotel stay, dinner on us, a staycation for a stressed out, sleepy mama like you. Tap the link down below to enter, and you can also send it to a friend or nominate a friend who you think is deserving this holiday season. If you are interested in all things motherhood, mindset, and money, make sure you tap the subscribe button because I am uploading brand new mommy rants every single day for the month of December. Tap subscribe so that you can be notified when new content is live.